Good news for Republicans in the Senate. Looks like Senator Manchin from West Virginia is going to be removing himself from the game. He posted this. He says, look, to the West Virginians who have put their trust in me and fought side by side to make our state better, it has been an honor of my life to serve you. Thank you. My statement on my political future is as follows. And so we'll take a look at what he said, but we'll also notice that he is getting pretty cozy with another senator who left the Senate or is planning on leaving the Senate, which is Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney says he's basically done as well. And he posted this one. He said, live soon. Senator Joe Manchin and I are joining the team to discuss our new bipartisan plan to improve the mounting national debt. Tune in on CNBC. And so this is Romney and Manchin, and they're getting pretty cozy. And of course, Romney was the first one to say he's out. Manchin's the second one to say he's out. Maybe these two are going to be holding hands. Maybe they are holding hands in this photo. It's kind of hard to tell. We don't know if Manchin is maybe tickling his palm in there. We don't know. But what's happening is they are in the Senate, and of course, they're going to be working together a little bit more closely. The New York Times says maybe this is adding fuel to the 2024 rumors that they're running for president. Which one is going to be on top? Who's going to be the top of the ticket? The one who is the president, who's going to be the vice president if they try to, do this cross the aisle shenanigans. So this is what Manchin said, and we'll listen to his language saying, I'm not going to be seeking re-election, but I'm going to be fighting to unite the middle. This might be a sea change shift in the election. I mean, if these two run, will it pull off from Biden? I think so. Will it pull off from Trump? Maybe. We'll see. This is what Manchin says.
I got into politics because of an argument I had 40 years ago with my dad. John Manchin owned a furniture store in Farmington, West Virginia, a small coal mining town of hardworking people. And one day our local state representative came in and asked Dad for a favor, saying, you owe me for all the things I've done for your little town. When the man left, I turned to my dad and said, now wait a minute, isn't helping Farmington that man's job? That moment defined the difference between self-service and public service. When I told my dad that I was going to run for office, he said, oh Joe, politics is a bad business. I'm telling you right now, stay out of it. I didn't disagree that often with my father, but that time I did. I reminded him of the famous line from President John F. Kennedy's inaugural address. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. I was 13 when I first heard it, and I'm still inspired today by it. My family were devoted Catholics who immigrated from Italy and Czechoslovakia. So to us, President Kennedy was held in the highest regard, and I knew President Kennedy's words would sway my dad. It took him about a minute, but my dad said that he would support me running if I made a vow to serve all the people, friend or foe, and not just myself. That promise made to my dad all those years ago has been my guiding light. I've never cared about where good ideas came from, and I never blame one side for creating a problem, nor believed that only one side could fix them. When America is at her best, we get things done by putting country before party, working across the aisle, and finding common ground. Many times, this approach has landed me in hot water, but the fight to unite has been well worth it. Today, West Virginia is attracting more investment, opportunity, and jobs than it has in decades. Here at home and across the country, we are building more roads, bridges, manufacturing plants, and energy infrastructure than almost any time in America's history. After months of deliberation and long conversation with my family, I believe in my heart of hearts that I have accomplished what I set out to do for West Virginia. I have made one of the toughest decisions of my life and decided that I will not be running for re-election to the United States Senate. But what I will be doing...
So that's going to be a tough loss for the Democrats, right? West Virginia went for Trump pretty easily the last election, pretty red. And so it's likely that that'll be picked up by the Republicans, which is a -1 for the left, +1 for the right. Big switch.
Is traveling the country and speaking out to see if there is an interest in creating a movement to mobilize the middle. Yeah. And bring Americans together.
A listening tour, going around to hear from people. Should we do something about this?
The West Virginians who have put their trust in me and fought side by side to make our state better, it has been my honor of my life to serve you. Thank you. Every incentive in Washington is designed to make our politics extreme. The growing divide between Democrats and Republicans is paralyzing Congress and worsening our nation's problems. The majority of Americans are just plain worn out. Our economy is not working for many Americans, from the rising cost of food and fuel and everything in between. We have a border crisis with illegal drugs entering our country and killing Americans every day. Our national debt is out of control, and Americans don't feel safe, even in their own communities. We are providing critical aid to two of our allies, fighting wars for their survival, and we must prevent being pulled into a major war ourselves. These are not Republican or Democratic challenges. These are American challenges. They affect every one of us, and we need to face them together. I know our country isn't as divided as Washington wants us to believe. We share common values of family, freedom, democracy, dignity, and a belief that together we can overcome any challenge. We need to take back America and not let this divisive hatred further pull us apart. Public service has and continues to drive me every day. That is the vow that I made to my father over 40 years ago, and I intend to keep that vow until my dying day. May God bless America, the great state of West Virginia, and each and every one of you.
All right, so that's Manchin. He is now pulling the ejection cord on the Senate run, which means he's running for president, right? I mean, he's going to run around this country and he's going to be hearing from people. And what is it going to be, an independent ticket? Or is he going to run to primary Joe Biden? Or is he going to join Mitt Romney and they can create this new middle of the road ticket as independents? Very interesting. Now, the New York Times, of course, has some concerns. They say Manchin's retirement adds fuel to the fire. He announced on Thursday not seeking re-election. Stoke chatter about a third-party run. Allies are very tight-lipped. Almost since he arrived, he's been complaining about the bipartisan nature of the Capitol since he got to Washington. He announced on Thursday not seeking re-election, traveling around the country, he said. But what he actually plans to do remains a mystery. Closest aides and advisors insist they don't know. Conservative Democrat who has since seen as this guy who has been seen as one of the party's key votes in the Senate is now making a change. He has flirted this year with No Labels, a group that's made noise. He says, regarding our No Labels Unity presidential ticket, we're gathering input, the group said. Some allies of Manchin are skeptical that he's going to run for president, says it's going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars for anybody to run a credible third-party ticket. Fellow Senate Democrats and their super PACs subsidized much of his 2018 re-election effort, but Romney can pull in some money. Also, Manchin's age 76, former University from West Virginia quarterback, and may have some bigger aspirations. But we also saw that Romney is throwing his hat into the ring, maybe? We see them holding hands here. Hey, we're independents. We hate Trump and the left. And so they hear Romney said, we're joining the team on Squawk Box to discuss our new bipartisan plan to solve the mounting debt crisis. And this is what it sounded like when they showed up.
Not everything is on the table because neither one of us and nobody else is talking about changing our entitlements for retirees or people nearing retirement.
Yeah, seniors,
those are promises made. Those promises will be kept. There's going to be no change in the entitlement program for our seniors. What we're talking about is what will the program look like for people who are today in their 20s and 30s and 40s? And do we need to make some adjustments in that area? For instance, linking the eligibility to the life expectancy of individuals and so forth, or giving people options as to when they opt into the program and start receiving the benefits. There are a lot of things we can do. There's a proposal put out by a couple of senators to invest in the stock market by borrowing some money and using our borrowing to invest in the market and use the returns from the market through arbitrage to help pay for Social Security. Look, there are a lot of ideas out there that don't require changing our entitlement programs for retirees. And that's where both candidates for president in 2024, I think, will be able to come down.
Right. All right, so this is a beta test, right? Like they're going to this is like a launch test effort. What do you think about these two guys? Put them together, put it on a screen and see how the people hit the buttons on the polls. Making it very clear to our seniors, that there's nothing that's going to be jeopardizing anything that is concerning you, of course. And that is a very critical campaign message that they want to be ultra clear about in 2024. And so the question is, who's on top? Which one of these ambiguously independents goes first? Which one's the president? Which one's the VP? And do they run on an independent no labels ticket? Do they run as a Democratic ticket, primarying Joe Biden? Very complicated issues, but seems like something's up there. And of course, we'll continue to cover, see if these guys get any momentum and how that really impacts the race, which is what I'm mostly concerned about. Independent tickets are always obviously a long shot, but would it pull more from Joe Biden if he is in fact the nominee, or would this pull some conservatives who just don't want Trump over into this mainstream ticket? And what does it do to everything else if also Senator Robert F. Kennedy, not a senator, is running as an independent as well, and maybe some other people jump into the fray? Could be interesting. Of course, we know it's going to be spicy. We'll continue to cover, my friends. Thank you for subscribing, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.